All right, we are live. So I had a bit of a crazy start today. I'm not sure what I did last week when I set up today's hangout, but something was different. So I deleted that one and started a new one. And here's Gerard. Thanks for
Hello.
your patience and hello. I have no idea what I did different, but obviously something. um, but faster on the retake, at least this time. Hello, Vasan. So nice to see you guys. And when I saw Gerard was the only one registered, I knew that if I scheduled something about philosophy, that he might still come. so, so I proposed philosophical questions. I posted a few, but we don't have to use those. But don't know if any of them appeal to you as a starting point, or if you have something else you would like to bring to our discussion topic today.
So, what are those questions, philosophical questions?
Yeah, I'll paste them in our chat so that we don't have to keep going back and forth.
Okay.
So a couple of them I chose for things that I would be interested in, and a few I thought might be up your alley, as they say. So there's the questions I shared. There are plenty more. I found a list of 202 202 philosophical questions. So I just chose these. You like, will religion ever become obsolete? Okay. Yeah, I wasn't sure if that would be an offensive question, but I thought it was fascinating to think about. So, what makes a religion and will it ever become obsolete? What do you think, Vasant?
Yeah, this question is appalling because recently I am watching a documentary by Morgan Freeman about the story of God. So it had a different kind of episode. So it was really informative. So uh, especially even the book, Dan Brown's thriller book, once mentioned that a lot of history has witnessed a lot of writers and a lot of books, but very few books were remained. They survived through history. Like so, they're all like only religious scriptures like Bible and Quran. So many religious scripts were survived. So how could they survive where the other books lost in the uh, history? So that means it might have possessed some qualities in it. It might have some messages inside it, but we don't understand yet. So that's what uh, it it keeps alive and it keeps surviving. It is trying to all of those scriptures are trying to say some convey some messages to the humanity. Yeah, I agree with that point. It was interesting one.
Mm. And I don't know if Gerard has any tips, but your sound is not clear today. Usually is, and I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
try
the same problem for me. It's like
try
Oh,
broken.
really?
undoing
Okay,
and redoing your mic. I'm not sure, or leaving and coming back, but it's not very clear today.
okay, I will try to restart my.
Okay, thanks. Maybe try unplugging and replugging. I don't know. Hard to follow. Interesting thought. So, what is your reaction to the fact that it's true that most historical texts that have survived longer than others are of religious matters? So, does that mean that there were other texts that were lost, or does it mean that in early humanity, questing for answers, people wrote more in this manner, looking for answers?
I think mankind needs religion these undernatural explanations of what's going on after we die, or how the world started, all those questions. Ancient texts. So
what
I
hear
thinking, what could be the end of religion?
Yeah.
So knowing everything, but is it that possible? What's the origin of the universe, and what's our end, the purpose of our existence, and if what's going to happen when we die, all of die, whether we're going to reincarnate or we completely cease to exist, or our atoms are part of other beings. Those are complicated questions. Maybe one day we'll be able to answer them, or the mankind will disappear in the future. I don't know.
So that's kind of what I wrote, is that when we have answers, maybe if there are answers that are believable and somehow seem proven. You mentioned reincarnation, which certainly is something many people believe in. The memories of people and their stories certainly stay with many of us when we lose a loved one. But what happens when we die? Is it our memory that takes over? And are there still atoms of my dad and my grandpa flying around? Yeah.
And I always am wondering, is there any religion that actually has the truth? Or is there something, an essence in all the religions, and something that we could say that's truth, that's the truth? Because most people don't choose their religion, so they are affected by their environment, and maybe they follow the religion that they are taught to do so.
Yeah, this is where I was worried that it would be an offensive question, because people who have a strong faith find it difficult to question that faith. I mean, that's what the faith is. And the question of which religion is correct is certainly one that has caused very irreligious contact. I didn't want to say contact, irreligious actions. I mean, war and murdering is what all religions say not to do, and yet, unless you're not a believer, and then it's okay. And that's providing an answer that people can work with that I can't work with. So what makes people not need a religion, or need a religion more than others? Is it discomfort with not knowing, or comfort with not knowing? Answers?
I think people who have faith are happier.
Are happier?
Yes, that's the
often true. Seems to be often true. So doesn't that say that there's a benefit, and we should strive to have a faith of one sort or another? It reminds me of this quote, proverb: ignorance is bliss. If you have the answers and you just follow that, then you don't have to let your mind be upset by anything else, because you just go by what the boss, whatever your God says, whatever your faith says.
But sometimes if you are putting questions to yourself, why ignorance is bliss? Because you are worried that you don't know the answers. So it's not that ignorance is a bliss. Maybe having one answer, whatever it is it's good.
Then you're not,
Something.
but then you're not ignorant, right? So
Well, but
or
ignorant.
you're unaware, ignorant of other things. Right. It's a circling dynamic. Yeah.
It's not that I know, is that I think I know. So people who is a member of a religious cult, or they think in their religious principles, but that doesn't mean that's the absolute truth. It's their truth.
Ah, there's Ivan. Hi.
Yes.
Hi. I hope Vasant will be back any minute. We sent him away to restart because his sound was not so clear. Yeah, so will religion ever become obsolete, Ivan?
Sorry?
Our philosophical question of the day so far is, will religion ever become obsolete?
It's very simple for me. in my opinion, and I think no, because people produce new religion every year.
Really?
Yeah. We just don't call it religion because it's not enough time for that. But you know, there will be a church of feminism for sure. So
Oh,
And what
already.
about the guys that love technology?
Interesting thought, though. Truly, I laugh, but is feminism what makes a religion? What defines a religion?
well, obviously now we have a man religion, right? Christianity, right? Women cannot be oppressed, right? They cannot reach some rooms inside churches. So a lot of restrictions. So it will be different in different way, I think.
Yeah, so priest, crazy
Priest.
English, priest.
Mhm.
Women, yeah, this is something being fought out. So what is a religion? What would make feminism be or not be a religion?
For me, religion just a set of beliefs, and if you follow that, and some maybe some rules, but it's not obligatory in my opinion. So it's some common myths. If you have some common myths, some set of common myths and beliefs, it's already religion.
Yeah, so there would be some dispute. I had mentioned a couple of times I was worried about this question being offensive to some people. So I hear you saying myths, what other people might call doctrines and unquestionable reality. So this is part of the challenge. It's been a while since, good, he's back. It's been a while since I've looked up the definition or thought about the definition of a religion. So I'm curious really whether feminism could qualify. Does a religion have to have a higher being?
Yes, for me it's pretty extremistic, you know.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to deal with, you know, extremist Muslim, because you at least you can communicate with them.
Wow. So you're still, I don't know if you're teasing or still really feeling this way today. It is a culture war of sorts in going on in the US and spreading beyond, since we're so globalized these days. So Vasant, I'd like to test your sound and I want to know whether you think feminism could be called a religion.
Okay, how is my sound now?
Beautiful.
Okay, okay. Feminism, I think not now, but maybe in few years it can be, yes.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's slowly raising a lot of the conversations and the support for the feminism is gradually raising. So I hope it will be.
Oh, see, and when it becomes a religion, I'll be less interesting just because I struggle against doctrinization. Gerard, please.
Yeah. Remember this new religion, Scientology? How do you call it?
Yeah, Scientology?
Yes.
Scientology. Yeah.
The one Tom Cruise and John Travolta,
Right.
remember?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So this religion is based in a sci-fi book.
Right. Right.
And do you know about Pastafarians? Or I don't know how to pronounce this.
Pasta, not Rasta. That's not a typo.
Rastafarians.
Pastafarians, yes, they believe in some. What is that? In some spaghetti, you know. They got is
Yes, I think
some
you-
spaghetti monster.
No, come on.
Really,
Come
really.
on.
But it's officially a religion. They have their own church. They have their own rules and rituals. And you know, when I told this about this religion, when I told teacher Lee about this religion, he learned it from me. He never knew about that. But his daughter has this symbol, right? This
Symbol?
symbol on their wedding tort, on their wedding what's the name, cake. So he doesn't know that, but his daughter already Pastafarians.
Oh,
Pastafarian.
Yes.
What a shame for teacher Lee. What a shame.
Why it's shame? Why it's worse? It's not worse.
Because she would think that's a very stupid thing to follow.
Can you see my picture? It's a god of
I was just trying to see it. Yeah.
It's an icon for
It's a
Pastafarians church.
Pastafarian. Yeah. There you go. And there are seriously people who claim this is real, or is it a joke, an intentional joke?
Maybe it started like a joke, but now it's real. Why not?
Why not? Indeed, right? Wow. Follow the pasta.
Pastafarian.
Ziti, are you a ziti or an elbow macaroni? I don't understand. Ay, but it's just as crazy. So when I seek, when I have sought, I don't know if sought is the right word. Personally, when I have looked for something to fill a need, maybe that's the right way to say, to fill a need, it's usually for me a need for a better, stronger sense of community. So I don't know if that comes from loneliness, from isolation, from tired of fighting with everyone, but I'm not always looking for like-minded people. I like questioning. So just to question is an answer. From a hymn, a song that I've heard, that I like this, that just to keep questioning is an answer of sort. And isn't religion an answer of sorts? So my religion is questioning. If one follows that type of thinking, but it is philosophical. What exactly is a religion? Is a religion the same thing as a unquestioned faith? Is there a difference?
Unquestioned what?
Belief.
Belief.
Faith.
Unquestioned faith and a religion.
Is there a difference?
Yes, because it depends on the religion.
Why?
For instance, in Buddhism, we are not forced to believe things that we don't experiment, you know? We don't have dogmas. Do you know what's a dogma?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We are not forced to believe things. Unquestioned faith is when you are forced to believe something without no question.
And this is why when I take the questionnaires as to what my faith or religion is, it always ends up strongly Buddhist or Unitarian.
So Buddhist, we can question what we do.
But I don't know if those are the only two that allow for that. But feminism as a religion, that's an odd concept in my head, and I'm trying to figure out why. Yeah. Feminism doesn't have a set doctrine. Feminists argue constantly over what feminism is, so maybe that's part of the challenge.
Let's admit they have a few common things.
A few common?
Yeah, a few common rules, a few common dogmas.
Women rule.
We are superior.
But not all feminists say so.
No.
So that's not completely true.
But speaking about unquestioned faith, we have a lot of them in science as well, because many people just now it's impossible to understand all the what's the name for that? All the fields of science. So you have to believe to something.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, because recently there have been several assumed unquestioned truths that are being retested with new science and re-questioned. Interesting. Yeah, Gerard.
And sometimes science is also a sort of religion, because they are convinced that they own the truth, the science. But sometimes this truth changes with the time. No, they know more things, and they change what they knew in the past. Maybe what they were sure in the past have changed with the time. Have changed because we now know more things, and in the future we will know more things. So it's in constant evolution. I mean, at this point, they are sure of what they know, and they think that they are in a superior position that people don't believe in religion.
I think it's a good point, and it can be a point to distinguish science and religion, because science evolutionate all the time. Religion more tend to follow dogmas. Those dogmas usually more solid during the time.
Because scientists follow the scientific method, which allows for testing and new dogmas, if you will.
But they call hypotheses.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yes, Vasant.
Yes, I think it can be considered as a religion, because science and religions are two different paths that heading towards the same destination. I think both are trying to find who is God and what is our purpose on the earth. I think so. It can be considered as a religion, but the difference is you cannot question the religion. It has a set of rules, and you cannot ask a question against it. So what happened after Adam and Eve? How they spread? It went like that. You cannot ask such questions, but in science you can ask more and more questions, and it will try to derive something from the previous hypothesis. So yeah, it can be.
Yes, I think Buddhism and Unitarian Universalism can be religions. If Pastafarians is a religion, or Scientology.
Most people qualify them as religions, but by Vasant's attempt at it's challenging. It is, and it's part of what people get perturbed with religions that don't follow the normal religious patterns. Interesting.
Well, in Russia, we have some department of government that decide what is religion, what is not. I don't know why we need that. I don't know, but probably it's the answer for this totalitarian sects. If you know that, we have a few sects, and it followed, accompanied by people death, by something terrible. So government started to regulate it somehow. So they decide who is sect, who is something like religion. And Pastafarian officially religion in Russia.
Seriously?
Yes.
That's what you showed us on that screen, or
And the Witnesses of Jehovah are a cult.
They are banned now. It's a recent action by this, but they banned by reason because there are the how said killed children who whose parents refused the blood injection or something like this. So
Yeah,
children die. So that's why our government banned this religion. But we don't mind it outside the Russia. Please do.
yeah, it's challenging here in the States with when religion meets law, and in many ways, two examples come to my mind from what you just said. The Scientologists, not Latter-day Saints. What's the other? Seventh-day Adventists, right? Seventh-day Adventists is the other name they go by. And there have been lawsuits by hospitals, by doctors, by neighbors, by other family members when parents have refused to allow treatment for their children because of their religious beliefs. And the other example that's making its way to the Supreme Court here is the wedding cake dispute. Do you guys know about this one? The gay couple. There was a gay couple who lived in an area where it was legal to marry now, and they went to a baker to order their wedding cake, and the baker refused to make the cake for them. And the gay couple is suing the bakery. And it's it's a real clash because the baker says it's against his religion for gays to marry, so he would not make a wedding cake for them. Yeah, right. But this is what's happening so much. It's why the U.S. is being mocked.
What about vegans?
In many ways.
Vegans,
right? That's probably next. Yeah.
You know,
it's obviously a very extremist religion.
yes. Especially if they have children, because following a vegan diet is dangerous for children because they need more nutrition.
You already said enough to be killed, you know.
Oh, it's hard for me because I think you guys know my daughter is a vegan, but she does not impose it on anyone else. It's her choice.
Yes, but
Basant wanted to question. Yeah.
So what do you think about the gender discrimination in religion? So all those messengers, all those gods are only male. But in Hinduism, we have apparently Hindu is not a religion, but we have a lot of both male and female god and goddesses. But in the international point of view, so many religions don't have female goddesses. So it makes me wondering.
It's easy to answer this question about gender discrimination. It's the problem that many religions don't evolve. And only this equality of men and women started 100 years ago. I think women in America started to have the right to vote 100 years, a century ago, more or less. So this equality awareness started just now, and religions are older. It's not that they had a bad intention in the past, like Quran, they established all of this set of rules, but they were good at this time. Even during medieval time, I think they were superior. Islam was superior than Christianity. But with the time, they didn't evolve. The problem is when they can evolve.
You're right, of course. But what is interesting for me in this question, it's that, how modern, for instance, feminism, if you're speaking about gender discrimination, react to that. So we obviously have this huge problem in churches, in religion. But who cares? People care about Canadian Ahem, about gender neutral text in the internet, about something for me, it looks like distraction from real problems. You know, we solve only minor problems who doesn't hurt anyone, but we ignore huge problems. What is fascinating? So we don't have reason for that.
But what do you mean? That the feminism, this problem, gender discrimination hides other problems?
Yes, feminism is kind of distraction, you know, by struggling with pronouns on the internet, he or she, or Canadian songs or something like this. It's like a distraction from real problems, you know. It's the best way to, you know, to keep the situation the same. Just solve something not important, but forgot about main issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's why my usual point is that feminism is bad not for men, you know, it's bad for women, because we will reach the point when we forget about any equality, because it will be just, you know, a swear word. At some point it will be, because when you will speak about equality, you will think about modern feminism. You will cringe about that.
But in India, it is very easy to distract people in the name of religion. So a lot of politicians create some controversy by in the name of religion, and it happens right now. And people of India are so sensitive and conservative, so they easily get distracted by those things. It's a sad truth. Yeah.
I think it's very international, Vasant. It's a common trick in every country. You know, when we have some real problem, the first step what government usually do is to make another fire. You know, to fake fire, to make attention on that. You know, to speak about some Hollywood scandal, about some actress or something like that, and hide real problem in that.
But if it is another problem, that's okay. But when it comes to a religion, most of the people here are like a how to call the followers. What is the name for that? The unquestioned faith, right? They have such unquestioned faith. So it is like a blindfolded man just clashing with something else. So, yeah, it's like that. So it has no use, I think.
I have met many types of Muslim people, for instance. Some of them don't follow any discourse, any discussion. You know, you just cannot communicate because they already have this set of rules. But others are very intelligent, and it's kind of interesting. For instance, our common friend Faisal, he knows a lot. He can deliver his point. He can argue, and it's very interesting in this way. That's why I never like feel anything against the religious self. I just against when it's became unquestioned at all, when it became a dogma, when you cannot ask.
I think this might be similar to what Vasant was getting to, is that it's used to be a target, a personal target, to knowing that that's going to stir a stronger reaction. And it is a tool that's used, and it is why conversations so often escalate to useless discussions. Yes.
So from my point of view, there are two sorts of religion followers, you know, the ones that think that their religion is the absolute truth, and the ones that know that religion is their truth, you know. So they follow for instance, they follow Islam, but they know that they are aware that is their truth, but not an absolute truth, because they have been born in this environment and they believe that. But if they were born in a Jew environment or Christian environment, they would be different. So I think it's important being aware of that. So I follow Buddhism, but I don't think that that there cannot be other truths, other paths.
I'm happy to live in a good place. Religious problems just not don't exist in my life. I can see something on TV about problems with religion, but I never never saw that in real life.
How is that? Because maybe because communism?
I don't know. Probably the overall percentage of religious people, it's about 7% or 5%. So it's hard to meet them.
Got a comment?
Yes, especially it depends on the country and the minority community there. They feel more insecurity here, especially in India. If some religious clash happens, the more violent movement will come from the minority people, because they always feel the insecurity in India, being a minority community here. So they always feel such insecurity. Then some issue pushes them, then they just exploded. The emotion exploded. It burst out, and it will get worse after that.
And the main problem of religion is when religion is mixed up with politics. When politicians or rulers mix up religion, then the religion becomes corrupted, but in the very bad meaning.
And until we have answers that most people will believe or everyone will believe, then this is going to continue forever. Or until such time.
One other thing, sometimes religious people who claims that are members of a religion, they are not, it's like a way of identification, Maybe they don't believe in that. Maybe that they are not true. I've seen people like that. They like to show off of being Muslim, but I think that even they don't actually believe in God. Because small details I watch, they for instance, they show off of doing feast in Ramadan, but then they do bad things during Ramadan. So what's quite oxymoronic. They feel together with people that share the same religion, like something that put them together.
Yes, one of the problem we face in religions are the translations of the religious scriptures, and it worsens the situation, because the same scripture can be used in both good and bad way, such as the terrorism is promoting the same religious scripture that the other good people are reading now. So yeah, so this that's where the problem comes. I think it's because of the translation. It uses different wordings, and it can be used in a negative way to brainwashing people.
But when you use words like brainwash, you automatically have people feel targeted and defensive, right? So it's very challenging to approach without putting up those defensive walls. Not my favorite word these days, walls, but the speaking of that, though, somehow fits this discussion. There was a cartoon I saw today where someone depicted President Trump gleefully smashing the Statue of Liberty into small bricks and making a wall with those bricks. But that's sort of the dispute, the politics meeting religion or politics meeting foundational beliefs. I find it totally ironic that this week was the anniversary where the Berlin Wall has been down for as long as it was up. And what have we learned from that? I'm not sure we've learned very much from that worldwide. And so the answer still is, in some situations, to build walls. Now we have drones. So, well, I mean, there are so many things that conflict with interpretations or translations of what is right and what is wrong and what a country is founded on or what religion a country is founded on. The very words that are printed on money, I mean, right there is kind of oxymoronic. Yes.
Yes, that's my question. Why religion is so entrenched with politics in America? So the president mentions God, the Constitution mentions God. I don't understand why yet. Even maybe the president doesn't believe in God, but the president must conceal that, you know? I doubt that President Trump is a strong believer.
I don't want whatever he believes in to become a religion, that's for sure.
I don't think it's bad. I kind of like traditions. And for instance, Gerard, you can imagine, you know, Spain without any churches, all these Catholic churches or something like this, all this heritage. It will be another country. It will be another culture. It will be another thing. So when I was young, I was strongly against this Orthodox religion in Russia. I was against these churches and so on. But now it's kind of when no one keeps it take it seriously, it's just a kind of like, you know, like ritual, like a show for us. So I don't see anything bad in that.
Religion as fashion. Oh, interesting. Praise that. What is the purpose of? Depending on your religion, right? For many Christians, it would be to save their souls.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't think it is the reason, but it might be. It might be the, I mean, economical reasons for some, the globalization. It might need people to bring, gather people inside the one umbrella, under the one umbrella, like that. So they can sell or they can do their business with them. I don't think so, but it might be in some cases.
And I think that I deliver my point badly. Let me try. let me try one more time. So in our culture, in other countries' culture, we have a lot of things. For instance, architecture. You know, some common celebration, holidays. I don't know, corrida, something else. I consider this Orthodox Church in Russia like the same part. You know, like the same thing. So why we have these churches? Just our culture is so we don't take it too serious. We don't ask people to go there and pray every day. It's just a like ornament for our life.
I misspelled Catholicism, but don't want to worry about it at the moment. Yeah, deep questions, right? Philosophical questions usually are. I used to love freshman year of college and just staying up all night talking about things like this as we get sleepy and crazier with our with our thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to mention the thing happened during the liberalization moment, the independence moment in India. At that time, we have our own caste system and a lot of uh, the layers in our society. So the people who lived at the bottom of the layer, uh, so they couldn't uh, follow the most of the religion, the major religion in India. So they were restricted. So they cannot come inside their temple. So they were desperate, and all those missionaries came from England, were Christians, and they decided to help the poor people by providing medical helps and as well as the religious uh, ceremonies. So that's how Christianity started in India. I think if you look at the statistics, a lot of Christians will be from the minority communities in India. So yeah, sometimes religion is can be used um, in such way when people are desperate, so we can help them.
My question: what the suffix ism mean? Holly.
Give me
Ism.
a challenge like that. That's not fair. I need to pull out my little chart. Ism. It's a good question. That's how we could get to the answer of my question, right? Because we say Catholicism. So an ism refers to a connection to a coherent group of some sort. Feminism, Catholicism, journalism. So I guess it's indicates a connection to a coherent group of thoughts of some sort. And I don't know what the Latin, I assume it's Latin, and I don't know what it, you caught me. I do not know. I have a chart about this thick of all of these that I study now and then, or Google.
Mm-hmm.
So, but people, humans, tend to like to belong, to feel a need to belong to something. So secularism is also used as an ism if you choose to belong to a group that refuses to identify with a faith or is still questioning or doesn't care.
Communism, everything is
Yes,
ism.
yeah.
So people follow all those isms.
They don't necessarily follow or believe in them, but the ism
Some
is
people
the,
do.
yeah, right, yes, yeah, strongly, yeah, certainly, and often in cycles or in less proportionate enthusiasm. Wow, philosophical discussions get tangled easily, right? So I feel, as I'm sure is no surprise to any of you, defensive with the debate that Ivan and I have had going on the site a little bit. But talking to three men, I keep hoping some women on the site will come in and help me. But your experience is different. You were born male, and that does influence your train of thought. And your experiences are automatically different in many ways because you are born male. But I also I keep thinking about the comment Ivan made about your last retort, I think, was something about how you can't identify with it because, and I'm tired. I'm going to forget exactly what you said. Hold on. Let me find how you said it. Where is it? Here we go. To my point of view, yes, your comment. Yeah. Your comment about we have a lot of nouns in our language that exist only in female type. And many languages have male and female labels. And as far as you've noticed, you've never had a problem with that.
So now in America, to prove that you have equality, you need to have a woman as a president of America.
Not enough.
Not enough?
Woman a president and behead all the men. It's kind of halfway.
Yeah, I mean, look how many women are CEOs and are in Congress now. And look at the games that are being played. We wear black today. We wear white today. We wear purple today. We find somebody else to make them topple and lose their. Oh, I should have put that in my post of lofty perch. We topple them from their lofty perches because we accuse them of living as the culture was lived. See, and that's not completely fair because every woman, none of us found a way to get past the ugliness. Until now, we're trying, having some success, but culture is evolving. I think Ivan used that word earlier. And same as it's not fair to many people's point of view to say that you can't do that because the Bible says so or the Quran says so, that interpretation is the same way that you can't do that now because it's a different time now. But then was then, and now is evolving. Question, Vasant.
Holly, is it true that US president candidates and the previous presidents are somehow connected to each other? Is that true? The US presidency is kept as for it is for just for a elite group of people. Is that true?
It depends on whom you ask. 70, 80, 90, 100 years ago, you could be poor and become president. But you cannot be poor and become president today unless you master viral technology and use tools that are available and find a way that doesn't take money, because the hacks that so many people, including myself, object to, if you have money, you can buy advertisements that proclaim false things and have a little tiny print at the bottom that says this was paid for by this PAC, and you can support a candidate who does not agree with you. But if you want him to win because you don't want the other one to win, that's legal now because of idiot law change that was made a few years ago. And Ivan's going to leave us. And a question again, Gerard? Yeah?
Yes, I'm wondering whether if a woman were to be president of America, her life in the past would be under scrutiny?
Oh, definitely. Every candidate's life is now journalist's dream of being the one to find.
But some of them are impervious, as I told you. Impervious, you know. Some candidates like Trump was impervious. You know, things that he did in the past didn't affect him. And Hillary did a few bad things, and those things ruined her.
And the world is still trying to figure out how in the heck that happened. Yeah.
So here we don't have equality.
No.
No equality. The
Um,
emails, Hillary's emails, many people didn't forbid that.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this expression, this idiom, no skin off my back. The origin is awful. It's from slaves being lynched and beaten, their skin flayed off their back. But it doesn't hurt me. You can't hurt me. Take this. Nothing hurt that guy. He just, he knows how wonderful he is. He knows it's solid. Yeah. And we haven't had that kind of audaciousness at this level before. So, yeah.
Even
But,
himself, he compromises himself, and anything happens to him. That's incredible.
Yeah. So in Vasant's question, every election, this question is asked. In the last 3 or 4 elections, majority says a poor person cannot win. And to get money, you have to make concessions. The corruption begins. If you want to win to stop corruption, you have to be corrupt. there's the circle. And so it's very, very challenging. Local elections, a different scenario, but president today, I keep hoping somehow that tech savvy team could do a lot to get new voices heard. But first, I think we have to learn to focus on the issue instead of on the main issues, not. And some people say that's exactly how Trump won, is because a lot of people did not like Hillary and did not necessarily agree with the choices she would have made. And a lot of people wanted something different and wanted financial freedom and wanted less globalistic impact, wanted US to be US strong again. And people have different feelings on what makes that true.
Okay, we should leave because we have another class with Ivan.
Yeah, okay. Oh, is that where your other class is? Okay, thanks. Fascinating discussion.
Holly.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.